Hey guys, welcome to another one of our reviews. I am the Kamikaze Worm. This is the Proton. Today we are doing an update on the UD AGI in tank form, because last time I did it, it was in the dripper form. So we're doing it on the tank this time. We did receive this from vapegear.co.uk. Thank you very much, Kirsty and Keith. Did we say Keith first last time? So Kirsty this time. They did send us through wire rope, stainless steel wire rope that we did mention on the RSST. On this one we've got the 2mm instead of the 3mm, so bear that in mind. Smaller hole basically. So we'll take this off just to show you. It's a bit dangerous because this thing does like to play around a bit. I'm being very careful. Just get the manual focus on the go, guys, and there we go. That has obviously got the bit of mesh around the top as well, but that is running at a 2.3 ohm coil and it's on 4.6 volts. So bear that in mind as well when you see flavour and vapour later on. This tank, being a Genesis style tank, is it was a massive pain, if I'm honest.
It's been hilarious.
Mainly my fault, not the actual devices. It's not the device's fault. It was mainly me being an absolute prize
To be honest with you, everything he touched yesterday just seemed to break. I'd have everything working fine. I'd pass him a Nova and he'd flood it somehow.
I just touched it
literally everything he touched yesterday turned to shit.
It was just, it was a bad day yesterday. Nothing was working. I even struggled to wrap a silica coil. That is how much trouble I was having yesterday. It was an all-round bad day for me yesterday, and I persevered with this thing yesterday and it just didn't want to do it. I had one go this morning, first coil, bang, no hotspots, nothing. This is running like a dream. So yeah, in terms of rebuilding this one, I mean, I can take the top off again just so I can.
The look on the face says it all when he takes that top off.
It's I just don't want to hit that bit of mesh at the moment. It is still firing nice, no hotspots, but yeah, you have got a little bit more up there than you have on the RSST. So you got like another hole there for you wicking, and I've actually used my fill hole, which is the screw on this side there, for using it as my negative, just because it's easier to get your standing up bit with your steel wire with mesh wrap around the top. But yeah, it's it was giving me hotspots all over the place yesterday, and I was not having a good day. I near enough lost my marbles yesterday. It was just nothing was working for me, like Mr. Proton said. It was just.
And I don't think it helped that it was going spectacularly for me.
No.
Yesterday I was just a rebuild king. I just touched it and it worked.
And he wasn't helping either. I
was pissing myself.
he was
laughing at him.
He was winding me up, and it was fun to say the least. More fun also for him than it was for me. But in terms of rebuildables, this is not quite as bad as the Arga T, but it is close.
It's not far.
It definitely needs like a more pro Genesis rebuildable hand to it than
this is definitely not one for not that.
The RSST.
The RSST though, I don't want to know it. It definitely is something for someone who is more experienced. Maybe had you been playing around with the RSST beforehand, then moved on to this, probably ideal. But by all means, or for your own sake, do not go from something like a DDA or an Nova straight onto this, because it is more complicated.
But now I've got this thing working, it is an absolute animal. I mean, I will have to say, like, once I had finally got one of these coils working on this device properly, this thing is working like a dream. It is just, it looks great and now it works great. That's all I have to say about this device. Once you've got it, it is, oh.
Really?
Yeah. Once you've got it working.
What happened last night?
What
He had it working last night.
Not to this degree. Yeah. I still had a slight hotspot.
He had it working last night, and then it didn't work. So it's quite funny.
Well, no, it was this morning, didn't I? Because I broke the core
this morning. Today he's working fine.
I was trying to tweak the core from last night that was acceptable. Still a slight hotspot. I tried getting that hotspot gone, and I done what Mr. Proton done and heat it up, tried tweaking it, snapped the wire. Rewrapped this first time, no hotspot. I would like to point out, I don't know what I did, but I my magic fingers are back.
So I think sometimes with this kind of stuff, you need to step away and give it a break. Because yesterday, Worm was adamant he was going to get it working. So much so that to the point where, in the time it took him to get a acceptable coil on that, I'd rewick the A7 twice. I'd rewick the RSST twice because it broke, didn't it?
Yeah, you first
time. I played around with Nova. I had then
tweaked your A7,
tweaked my A7, dual coiled it, took it out, single coiled it, tweaked it, vaped it, and then I tried rewicking the Aga 3 times in the time it took him to get an acceptable
in terms of amount of candle, I must have used about 1.5 meters on this yesterday just to try and get this working. And today I've used maybe
one length
and
yeah. 3 inches. It is one of them things with the RSST. I can have a bit of a bad time with it. I mean, I haven't, but I could have a bit of a bad time with that. Undo it, pull the coil out, and go again, and probably be fine. With that, the more you try, the more you get annoyed, the worse it's going to be for you.
Yeah.
And it's the same. In that respect, it's the same as the Aga. The more you give it a go, the worse things are going to get, and it's just not going to go as well as you want it to.
And yeah, woke up this morning clear-minded, gone back to it, and it is worked like a dream. I mean, in terms of like new people buying a Genesis style tank, don't start with this one. Really, I mean, honestly,
start with the RSST.
Start with the RSST. They are about the same price, a little bit cheaper, but
this is more of a pro tank because it's someone who knows what they're doing.
But you do get a dripper with this one, so at worst case you do buy this one and you can't get it working in this tank, and you can just wick it as a dripper. So for the extra couple of quid, this might be a good starting model for a dripper.
It's beautifully simple. As a dripper, it's basically the same as the IGO L, but the O-rings hold better. So as a dripper, it's a very, very good dripper.
But we'll see how this vapes now. Bearing in mind this is definitely a cold coil at the moment. It's running on 4.6 and it is a 2.3 ohm, I believe. It's gone up to 2.5. I think that's just where I need to twist it on a bit more. Well, 2.5, but whatever.
Whatever. Yeah, so it is definitely one of the ones with more experience of you. We aren't super duper experienced. We have got them working okay, but as you can see, it is now working after a little bit of tweaking. And I think there is always going to be a learning curve as well when it comes to a new device. Doesn't matter how experienced you are, you're going to get a new device and go, that's slightly different, and you're going to have to tweak the way you rewick it. It's just how it is. So you've got to take that into consideration when you are buying and using this stuff. Don't move from even the Aga, for example, which is made by the same company. Don't move on from the Aga to this and think they're going to be exactly the same. Personally, I think this would be easier.
It is easier.
But there are still going to be bits that you're not used to doing or ways you have to tweak it. The setups are always very similar, but you're going to have to alter the way you whip.
Again, it's the same when you're using like the rope and the mesh that we are. You've got to obviously heat them up and get them oxidized first, so that is a little bit of something different. Obviously you can move on from to a Genesis style tank, so bear that in mind as well. I mean, you can use wick in this one though. You can use a silica wick. It has got the setup and the poles there ready for a silica wick. So if you are more confident with silica wick, by all means use silica in that. It's worth a go. I mean, I used it in the dripper form of it. It worked like a dream. I mean, the only problem we've had in previous Genesis style tanks is wicking issues with silica wick going upwards for some reason. We don't know why or what we're doing wrong.
Gravity. I do have to say, I haven't actually used this today. This is performing brilliantly.
I don't know what I've done, but it is. I think that is to its peak near enough. Once that coil bed's in, I mean, that flavour is still coming through. I mean, it is a milder vape flavour that I've got in there. It's just an apple in the moment, a green apple. And we tried it in other devices, and even in our drippers, it was kind of a milder green apple taste. But that is coming through a lot stronger on that wire slash mesh wick that we got going in there. So yeah, it's I
didn't actually, to be honest with you, we've just done the RSST follow up and had a 10-minute break and moved straight onto this, and I was just vaping the RSST. The vape of this is actually better. Yeah,
I don't know what I've done. I mean, maybe there's just a slight tweaking issue that he's got to work with his one. It could be the fact of the 3 mil instead of the 2 mil. Maybe the 2 mil is just
the draw slightly area. To be honest with you, I don't know, but whatever you've done is working.
It's I honestly, guys, all I did
this
with
is part of it. He doesn't know.
Well, the one change I did do on this one, if you
focus.
Yeah, go on. I want to get a bit closer here, guys. Sorry about this. If you look on this bit of mesh up here I've got, it's slightly bent in towards the actual positive over there. I actually pulled that in and then wrapped the coil around that positive and then tightened it on, so it's kind of leaning in. That eradicated the hotspot for me on this device completely. I mean, I'm not saying it's going to work every time, but that's what I did. And I don't know what it is, but it's just, it is just
That is working pretty well.
it's slightly better than your RSST, isn't it?
I maybe because of the slightly area draw, I might draw that hole out slightly on that RSST. To be honest with you, it is quite tight. But I don't think that was working as well as that. To be honest with you, like I haven't actually tried it today, but that is performing really, really well. So that goes.
The vape of it is very clean. Again, we think this is more to do with the mesh and the rope than the actual device itself. It's just the actual material you're using in there to wick it up. But again, that is from Vape Gear, and Keith and Kirsty should be getting this in stock depending on how people are viewing it. They sent it out to quite a few people to review and get back to them with their feedback and that. But at the moment, definitely stock this.
Again, well, I would. Whilst we're talking about the stainless steel rope or the steel rope versus the steel mesh type thing, you do have to use steel mesh, or we have anyway, because we found it easier. But that setup I find easier to do than just the steel mesh on its own. I know that it's a learning curve again, but I definitely prefer to do that than I do to roll and oxidize the entire steel mesh. And I find that you can be a little bit rougher with your wick. And the benefit, and it still benefits you. It doesn't matter because it's a solid piece of steel. But as we said in the RSST, it just, I mean,
this is bedding in as we're going through, guys. I haven't really used this a lot today, so.
Same as RSST. I'll put this up to 4.9 volts, but you push the button and just.
So it's still 4.9 volts. It's still no hotspot. Look at that. That is just wicking like an animal.
It's just the entire length of the VAMO allow you to fire it, not one hotspot, and you can see the amount of vapor that's just come off of that. It wicks beautifully, this stainless steel rope, and in this it's actually wicking slightly better than my RSST.
I think it's a slightly area draw, isn't it? Because mine's got quite a wiggle in there when you actually put the actual wire in there, whereas Mr. Prawn's is very, it's not tight, it is snug. Yeah, there is a slight air allowing an airflow to go around it, but mine's very much an airflow going around there quite easily.
Should we get onto a 5-point thing?
Yeah.
5-point. Looks 10.
10.
Looks awesome on the VAMO. Look, it just looks awesome. Personally, not a big fan of this tip. I prefer the one that's over there. I have to get up to get it. Hello. I prefer like that, but I think that looks amazing. Really, really.
Yeah.
Really good looking.
Yeah.
It
looks. It is definitely a 10. I mean, I don't mind this. It does look better with this kind of drip tip, but I don't like the style of this one, so it would be more of a style choice for me. But still, a stainless steel drip tip on this, it makes it like a 10 plus sort of thing. Yeah,
I mean, you having your own tip always improves the look. Usability. Now, usually we'd say 1 or 2 parts. I'm actually going to crack this into 3 parts. This usability. Usability as a novice user. 5, 6. I think for me, it's a lot of tweaking. If you're a novice user, you're not going to be used to doing anything that you have to do to get this working. So usability for me as a novice user is a 5. Usability, sorry, it's actually 4 parts. Usability for me as a novice user for the Dripperati, 10. It's just as easy as all the other Dripperatis.
It is a 10, it's just the same.
Usability for me as a Jenny tank user, 9. It's not as simple as some out there, but it's definitely not as complicated as some either. And usability as a Jenny user as a Dripperati is definitely a 10. Okay, it's very, very nice and simple to use as a Dripperati. But you?
Yeah, I think most of mine are the same. I would say, yes. I would say it's a little bit easier than what you're saying for a novice. It's not that hard compared to other Genesis style. I would say, it's for
this is almost as close as this is almost as hard to use as the Arga. It is so close. The only difference is you haven't got 3 nuts, you've got 1 screw. I think it's
because there's less to lose, and you do get spares for everything in the
But you do with the Arga.
Yeah, I know, but like I'm comparing this to the RSST at the moment, kind of like in all Genesis style tanks. I think it's still a little bit easier to use, but it is still hard. So it is like a 5.5, maybe 6 if you are kind of like savvy. Maybe a novice user, but savvy to doing your own things like DIY and stuff and putting up shelves and all that kind of stuff. Good with your hands, basically.
Using Novas though, don't move on to this.
No.
Unless you're happy to tinker for a long time, and at worst case, you've then got a very nice simple Dripperati whilst you're playing around.
Yes, I mean that is the advantage to this one. If you do get it and you don't get it working as a tank, you can just switch it to a dripper in 5 seconds. Just literally unscrew the top, put in another grub screw. That's it, and you're ready to just wick that in a silica drip, and you're good. So, but yeah, for Genesis style users, it's easier than some out there. but harder than
A
some
lot
as well.
harder,
Yeah,
It's,
especially like the RSST that which you've previously done. So it's a
Compared to the
9.5.
compared to the RSST,
For
this is
dripper,
harder.
it is a 10. It's just so easy. There's 2 posts there. They're easy to get on there. That you're done. The only thing is you've got to remember is to line up your air hole. That is it. That is the only one thing you've really got to remember on these is to line up your air hole. And with this being a push O-ring instead of a screw, it's 2 seconds. You put it off, put it back on. You're ready to go. I mean, it's a lovely little device. It really is. And it is a glass Pyrex again, obviously. So this tank.
Which is a big thumbs up. All your juices are safe in there. Maintenance for me, I kind of want to go 2 ways because I want to say it's harder than the RSST, which I think is. If you're talking about your wicks and stuff, but generally we cover maintenance with sort of cleaning it out and stuff, and with cleaning it out, your maintenance, well, I actually want to say this is quite simple because you could, in theory, even as a tank, unscrew the entire top section with drip tip attached, and then you just have literally the glass, the tube, and the bottom piece, wash them out, put them aside, and you can concentrate solely on the top. So for that reason, I want to say this is probably about an 8 or a 9 to maintain in terms of washing. In terms of coils and stuff, yes, worms have to play with it quite a lot, but I think that's a reflection on Plum 2, as opposed to the actual tank itself. Maintaining it, once you've got your coil and stuff, now I can't imagine he's going to have to touch that really, apart from filling it with juice for quite a while.
And the good thing about this, because you have got like 2 grub screws while you're using this, even though I've used my filling hole as a negative, just use your little Allen key to take out the grub screw and fill from that hole. Yeah,
I mean that's not bad if you're indoors. If you're out and about, but even if you weren't out and about, you still have to take your screw out if you use the other negative. So it's still a Phillips job, and you actually do get your Allen key with this, so that's probably quite a good thing also.
And the Allen key is small, so it will fit in your pouch if you've got like little case you carry around with. So filling will be a little bit of an issue if you're out, but indoors, nothing.
But no more than any other tank, I don't think, because my RSST, yes, it's got a rubber bung that you pull out, but you still getting that thing with your fingers near on impossible because you remember once you've got juice in there, it's slippy.
I mean, especially with the. Let me get stuff off again. This is hot at the moment, very hot, by the way, guys. Obviously, when you fire it, it does kind of spit out, so you are going to get a little bit of mildew over here. So it does get on that bung on these RSST, so it does like
slip off. So I usually tend to get a bit of tweezers off.
I feel that at the moment. This is what we were saying in the last video about this.
It's not too bad, but it will get. This actually does feel thinner than the RSST, though.
Yeah.
Okay, the outer body on this does feel thinner than the RSST, which is why it's getting so hot so quickly.
This is getting very hot. So just another thing to.
Fortunately, it's not mine because I run my devices hot. I like high watts vaping. If that was me on a 2.5 amp core, I'd probably have that about 5.5 volts. So that for me would be getting incredibly hot, almost to the point where it's uncomfortable. Because this wick does wick so well, you just hold that button and keep going. What I tend to anyway. On a mechanical one, you could seriously get that warm. But that's kind of reflective on you, isn't it? If you sit there with a button push for 15 seconds, expect stuff to get warm. If I sit there with a Nova and push the button for 15 seconds, I'm going to get it burned, but it's going to be bloody hot.
It is metal. It's going to conduct heat quite easily.
That's what it does.
So
flavour and vapour.
Flavour of it is still bedded in because I haven't used this as much as his RSST, which has been like a 2-day bedding in period. Mine's probably had about half a day's worth of actual usage. But even so, the apple is coming through really, really, really nice. It is, like I say, quite a lower in flavour punch than you get from some of our other flavours we've got. But that is coming through a lot stronger in that, I would have to say, at the moment. And vapour of it is just immense. You can see the vapour coming off. It is just clouds coming out of here. We've got like, we're like a tropical rainforest here at the moment. I have to draw some trees on the back down there so we can see that it's raining behind us. But yeah, it's the vapour of it is amazing. It's really good. Once you've got it working right, I would like to say that, working right, it performs epic. It really does.
Flavour and vapour for me, I'm going to, we'll compare this to the RSST as well as everything else. The flavour of that is about the same as RSST, maybe very fractionally better, but I think, as Worm said, it might be because his wick is very fractionally looser than mine, or because he's got a bigger air hole. I'm not entirely sure. I may play around with that again later now. Vapour of it is amazing. It's very, very good. It's very, very good. I want to go as far as saying that this is probably the best device I've used in terms of flavour and vapour.
Definitely.
I haven't tried that juice in the E-Baron dripper. I think it's going to outperform that E-Baron, if I'm honest with you. It's taken a lot of work. Yes, the E-Baron's done and it's 98% there, but that does seem to be outperforming that E-Baron for me anyway. And the vapour.
And I've used it a lot more than the E-Baron.
I mean, E-Baron's his, so usually go no. That is performing amazingly well.
I now understand why people buy these when they're working these are going to be the go-to device.
Yeah, I'm definitely getting. I mean, I kind of saw that with the RSST, but even more so with this. It's performing incredibly well. I didn't actually expect that because like I said before the start of this video, I haven't actually vaped it today.
Especially since yesterday I was having a god awful day and he was laughing at me because nothing was working. I don't think even he expected this to be doing this well so quickly.
It is performing incredibly well. Overall, if you factor in everything, the fact that the fanning around, the getting used to things, the cost, the build quality, everything else, I was going to say 7 here because it is very reasonably priced, but it is a lot of work. But if you can wrap that again like that without too much fuss, having done it once, then that's a 10. Because that vapor is amazing. I honestly, I was not expecting this. I mean, again, we've said before, we did get these free, and it isn't going to affect the review, and this isn't affecting the review. That's nothing to do with this, to be honest with you.
It's more about how you can work that coil like this has been done.
If I can get an RSST working as close to that as he has got that working, then I'll be buying one of those because they are very good. That's a bloody good vape. Kind of, like we've said, like one of you said, we can kind of see why people are interested in these Jenny tanks now because that's amazing. That really is. I didn't expect that. I thought realistically, I come into this a bit biased because I hate the Arga. It fucks me up so much, and the RSST is going to change my mind a little bit, but not. I mean, enough in terms of building the thing. It's very easy, the RSST, but that is performing amazing. I really am shocked. So if you can get it working like that all the time, 10, if not 7. That's my overall ratings for this device because I want to be able to do that all the time. If we can,
I want to say on my overall, I mean, like I said, like I agree totally. If this is working like it is at the moment, like a perfect coil on there with the stainless rope and the mesh around the top, this is a 10. But on an everyday coil that you're probably going to be wrapping, you're probably going to be sitting around a 7 if you are having to tweak this a lot because it is a lot of fiddling around. I got lucky this morning with this.
But on its upside,
going round and done.
If now that's there, realistically, there's a minimum of a week and a half, 2 weeks on that.
I'm not changing this until this doesn't work.
Yeah, that is impressive, is what I want to say. And we have used a lot of devices. It's still not going to shadow the fact that this has been a royal thorn in Worm's side, a proper fly in the ointment.
In terms of time I spent re-wicking this yesterday, it was literally like 5 hours of re-wicking, unscrewing, heating my candle, re-wicking again, breaking it again, not working, tweaking. I mean, most of it was tweaking, to be, if I'm fair, because the coils pretty much go on pretty quick for us these days, but it is just tweaking. With this, I've had to do one move to get
today
to
get this coil.
I don't know how.
I look at this thing. I really do.
I don't know how it's hot. But today it's just worked. My magic fingers have worked their jobs well today because generally my wicking goes pretty well like this. Generally, yesterday was just
anything like this.
No, but like generally like just not comparing this like, but my wicking generally I normally just go done. And it works fine, no hotspots, nothing. Yesterday I was having an almighty wrong day. Nothing was wicking for me. This was going.
Did you wick this in the device?
Yes.
Which he doesn't tend to do anyway. I do, but he tends to go, I don't like doing it like that. And I persuaded him yesterday to do it because mine started working.
But yeah, I mean,
I'm looking at this. It is a perfectly spaced coil, but mine's perfectly spaced in the RSST on a different device. But I don't know. This is performing really well.
We are lost for words, guys. I mean, it is one of those ones that if you get right, it's going to work. If you don't, it's going to be a pain in your ass.
More me than you because I haven't, like I said, until this video I hadn't actually vaped this. Like, I mean, a big downside is how quickly, I didn't realise how quickly this body got that hot. It's bloody hot, bloody quickly. It's very thin.
I think that's the...
Maybe we could slot the Arga body on there. The Arga's thicker. Should we try it?
No.
Let's try it.
No, that'll fuck up my coil.
Don't fuck up your coil.
Leave my phone in alone.
This is the problem. He's so worried about fucking that coil up now, especially about where it's working. It's very strange that actually, because I didn't think, again, coming into this, that we would get these working as well as what he has now, as well as the RSST working. We've had some traumatic experiences with these tanks, these rebuildables. And once I got the RSST working yesterday, and I was like, ha 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 ha, using that away, and it was fantastic, really, really good. But that is knocking the RSST out of the water at the minute.
It is.
That's very, very weird. Very weird. It might be the fact the juice in the RSST is menthol, but it's not making that much of a difference.
No.
It's not making that much of a difference.
There is definitely more vapour coming off of this than there is.
More vapour. It's the flavour
flavour.
more than anything. I mean, the vapour off of that isn't too dissimilar to that. I mean, that is better, but it isn't too.
No, it's only a slight
dissimilar.
difference, but the flavour.
The flavour off of that is really, really epic. Strange. I didn't expect that.
It's the 2mm wire.
Possibly.
We will update you on this further because we will re-rig this again, no doubt.
We're still at the stage we have no idea. These little tweaks. We're not an experienced Genesis user, but all we can.
Keith, I've got it working.
Hey, finally! All we can say is that the stainless steel wick on that coil, you can actually see the liquid bubbling. But I think that it got to a point where it's wicking perfectly. There's the right amount of juice going to the right coil in the right device at the minute. So,
well, this was practically full when we started this, and this is, as you can see, below halfway now.
Yeah.
This is how much this wicks.
And how quickly it vaporizes it, which is why, I mean, you're getting plumes of vapor, you've got to expect them using more liquid. But, yeah, I'm very, very surprised because I mean, even before trying this, I come into this review expecting to go, nah, it's not as good as the RSST, and he's had so many traumatic experiences and la la la, which is still true.
I did have a lot.
Still true. It has taken, well, probably 8 hours worth of tinkering if you include time yesterday and time today with this.
But bearing in mind, this is my first Genesis style.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, Worm's used Miyaga. We've rewicked several little heads for Novas. We do use drippers predominantly, so we aren't novice coilers. But in terms of Genesis tank, even we look at it and go, oh god.
Yeah, we get the hot spot and we go, well, how do I fix that?
Yeah, it is one of them. But I mean, we tweak and we get in there ourselves. But I did expect to come in this and go, yeah, and mine's working, and his is still a little bit like meh, 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 meh. But he's got that. Well, if that isn't bang on, I want to taste what could possibly be better because this is the best vape I've ever had.
Yeah,
I'm really surprised. It's not my RSST down to like an 8.5. No! Bollocks.
I think he was looking forward to ripping into me a little bit in this video, and
I have been. I literally take sick pleasure in abusing this man. I really do. He does do the same to me. I want to point out, he's just not quite as brazen about it as I am, and I really enjoyed yesterday laughing at him. I found it absolutely hysterical because usually he's the one laughing at me, and I expected to come today and him to be like, "Oh, I'm gonna have to admit that it's more work than it's really worth."
But it's not.
The RSST is less work, but it's not performing as well as this.
This is worth. I wouldn't say it's worth 8 hours.
No.
But it was worth the extra 20 minutes I spent
to
this
do
morning.
it in 8 hours.
Yes.
And you can now do that every time, or near on every time. If that took an hour to do that, I would spend that hour doing that, knowing that that was what I was getting.
It took 20 minutes, didn't it?
No, I know, but that's what I'm saying. If it took you an hour every time to do that, and it's going to last you 2 weeks or a month, I would spend the time doing that.
But you're looking at 8 hours to learn, and then 20 minutes.
Meters a can fold.
And then a good night's sleep. And then up in the morning, 20 minutes. Perfect. I'm not going to say it's going to happen every time because I'm not going to take this on and try. Why would I? It's one of them. It's just
That's surprising to both of us, I think. I mean, not so much to you because you've actually been using it this morning. When he was going, oh, it's working beautifully now, and I was thinking, yeah, probably still not as good as my RSST. And you've actually worked for a while.
I did. When I said I was doing it beautifully, I put it away, sort of thing, so you couldn't try it because I wanted it on camera.
Because he didn't want to affect the coil. That was one of the main reasons. If I put it over there, nothing could happen to it. Kind of, the
wind could blow, and
the bubble wrap came out. That's how worried he was yesterday. Because literally every time he picked that thing up, something had changed. But it is
still sitting on a 2. Well, it's gone back down to 2.3, but that might be where it's heated up now. So we're expecting with this wire, because it is cool, you probably get a little bit. I don't know how, but it just seems to knock up that ohm by like 1 or 2 points every time. But now it's heated up and being used like a train, it's gone back down.
Doesn't even feel the same. What a dick. Yeah, no, I mean,
what can you say to it?
There's not a lot you can say.
Sorry guys, not the camera.
All round, like, is it worth the effort? Yes. Okay. I was going to say no to this at the start of this video until I tried this. Luckily, he wrapped a good coil before we did this video. If you can get this, it's definitely worth the effort. There's no two ways about it. This is knocking everything we've ever tried before out of the water. If you've got a short temper, buy it knowing it's going to take you a month to do it, all right? Because you're going to spend an hour a day, get the ump and put it aside. But when you do it, and it is when, you will love it.
But
you will love it.
On the plus side, you can use this as a
dripper
dripper for the rest of the month while you're trying to do it. So, yeah. It is one of those. We got to say thank you to Kirsty and Keith once again for sending this through. They are both beautiful devices. Now we've got them working. Thank you very much. And Kirsty, more kisses, please.
More kisses. Keith, I did notice in one of the emails you did put kisses at the bottom, and I'm assuming that they were for the worm.
No, they were emailed to you, so they must have been for you.
Yeah, but
there's no but. It was your email.
Keith. Yeah, no, it has been. This has been a bit of a curveball for me because I really wasn't expecting this to be this well. If you've got the money, if it's your first Jenny Tank RSST, I'm still staying with that because definitely. It's easier to use for sure, and it'll be a good way to introduce you to the Jenny Tanks. If you've got a Jenny Tank, if you've got an Arga, you're going to be used to stress, so you might as well.
This is still slightly easier than the Arga.
Very slight, but it's made by the same company, isn't it? So I mean, they have definitely tweaked it in here. They've given you a bit more room. You've got a well on this because it's used for a dripper, which can make wrapping your coil slightly harder. But once you get your bottom coil in, then coil the rest, and it's fine. It's just getting that bottom coil in. You can use a screwdriver to sort of help you get the height off of the base.
Normally, we kind of like tweak it around the first time, hold it, and then just push it down with a screwdriver, and then go for your next coil. You're done. My
main downside to this when we started this video was how much of a pain in the arse it was going to be. It is worth it though. My main downside now is how hot this body gets.
Yes.
That is now my main downside. With steel rope, because the steel rope's retaining the heat, which is touching the mesh, which is touching the body, which is going to be spreading that heat. So using just steel mesh, it's probably not going to be as bad, but it's still going to get hot.
With silicone, maybe not so much.
Maybe not so much. This is it's very, very weird, this one. I wasn't expecting it at all. I'm actually glad you managed to get it working properly because this is obviously what Jenny Tanks should be working like, which is why people rant and rave about them. Personally, we've watched videos after trying them and gone, they're good, but they're not that good. Well, they are good actually. I'll take it back. I've said it before in videos saying they're not worth the effort, and if this is the results that you can get out of it each and every time, which a lot of these big YouTubers who do these rebuildables will be getting, then yes, I can understand why they look at them the way they do and why they rant and rave about them so much. It's still not for a medium vapor or a novice vapor. It's still not for you yet. Progress a bit slowly.
Move your way up. Go through the stages. Stick with your clearomizers. Maybe try cartomizers. Then go on to like your rebuildable drippers, which are a lot easier and are going to give you a lot less
the drippers are still a case of 95% of the positive or 80 or 90% of the positives, but a lot easier to use. But if you are chasing the perfect vape,
like we are,
what we are,
this is it right now.
This is definitely as close as we've gotten to what we would consider the perfect vape. It's work, but it is definitely good. I really don't know what to say on this fucking thing. It really surprised me. That's very, 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 very surprising. That if you want to compare that to something like a Nova, well, there is no comparison. The Nova isn't even touching that. The Nova is a bloody good clearomizer, especially this new one that we got. It's a very, very good clearomizer, but compared to that, it's nothing. It really is. I don't really know what to say on this anymore because I've always been like, no, Genesis style tanks are poo.
I was the same because I tried reworking his Arga T and it was a nightmare to say the least. But is this the result of that all arse aggro? That learning curve that you have got? It's a new learning curve that you've got to learn.
It's a big one as well. It's a big one.
You're going to be sitting there with your pulling your hair out and losing your mind. I actually got a headache from stress last night.
He actually did get shit. He goes, I think I've got a nicotine headache. And I was like, how? You haven't been vaping, your device ain't working. And he was like,
It must be stress. It will give you those niggly bits, but once you've got that under your belt, this is as close as you're going to get to that perfect vape right now.
That we've experienced.
For this price.
Oh, for 30 quid from vapegear.co.uk when that was a proper name drop, that one. Even I went, that's a name drop. But that's because they sent it to us. Right?
They did, yeah.
And not just that, but It is the cheapest site we've seen it on, $29.99. I don't want to name the site, but there is another big site that does rebuildables a lot, and that is $42.99 for the same device. So take that into account. I do also want to say that most of these companies will offer next day delivery, keep and courtesy, or bake delivery, no different. This arrived next day, so and it was cheaper. Or is cheaper.
Well, yeah. So I mean, we'll do our shout outs. Head Dog,
Mind Rover,
hello, Adam,
Dan, Steve,
Rabbit,
hello Rabbit. Thanks for the intro.
Yeah,
Wicked
thanks again,
intro.
mate.
You call him Babe?
Thanks again, mate.
He said Babe. I thought he said thanks again, Babe.
Is
there something going on between this? Look,
just because there's something going on between you and Keith doesn't mean there's something going on between some other people out there.
It's not me and Keith Kirsty, I promise. How have I gone? Well, hold on a minute. This is not acceptable. We've gone from like one of the first videos going, Keith, I'm not emailing your wife trying to get a number, to now me going, Kirsty, I'm not trying to email your husband. What is going on?
I'm trying to email you.
The implications coming out of this man's face hole are redonkulous. I can't remember what I was saying. You've thrown me off with the... I'm so sorry.
Again, rate, comment and subscribe down there. We'll have links to everything down there, guys.
You can follow us on Twitter, which is worm and big N proton, or at worm and proton.
Or you can follow us on Facebook. We have a Facebook group which is worm and, which is the symbol for and, the ampersand proton dash chasing and the perfect vape. Which is this.
Well, so far.
So far.
All of our videos go straight to Twitter links and stuff. So if you want to put something, more than welcome to. No obligation. All you're gonna really read is kind of random stuff that we get up to randomly. Are we done? I don't know.
I think we are done for this
I
one.
expected to have a long old ramble about how shit this was,
but we can't because I've done it right.
Honestly.
Sorry, guys.
No rambles in this one. Very good, very good for the price. Incredibly good. I can't see how something's going to perform much better than this, but then. Kind of did say that in a lot of videos and then got proved wrong.
Lenovo.
Someone recommends something that is better than this, that you have used both. If you've used this and got it at its best and then moved on to something else, let us know what that something else is, so we can have a look at it. Because I want it.
He's definitely ironing it up now, guys.
I am, honestly, I'm seriously considering buying one. Now, I know that if I do buy one, I'll get it, look at it, and go, I'm going to get it working just like he did. And then within 10 minutes, like, ugh, fuck my life. But if I can get it working like that, I'm gonna give the RST another go in a bit. Maybe some 2mm wick and a bit of generous mesh and see how we go with that then. Because it's very, very good. Very good. I think that's probably a good place to end, really, isn't it? Yeah, it's been a bit of a weird video for us because we wasn't expecting it. Well, I wasn't anyway. I have them. Yeah, so this has been the AGI follow-up from versatility.co.uk. We'll link these in the description as well for you, of course. Thank you very much for watching, guys. I have been Mr. Proton. This has been The Worm. We'll see you soon, guys.
Catch you soon, guys.